I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody will say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. I grew up in an inner city neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio. I loved my childhood. There were 3 things that were never lacking: love of God, love of family, and love of food. Everyone in my family loved to cook, and we expressed our love for each other by what we created on the stove and in the oven. Nana, my grandmother, was an artist at creating delicious dishes out of practically nothing. Mom, and she's out there in the wheelchair, she's retired from cooking now, she taught us how to cook and bake, and she created recipes and recipe books in order to preserve our legacy. Dad just liked to cook. He loved to eat, so cooking came quite naturally for him. Our meals included fried chicken, collard greens, salmon croquettes, collard greens, smothered cabbage, hot water cornbread, sweet potatoes, potato salad, and the desserts. We had butter roll. We had lemon icebox pie. We had sweet potato pie. We had chocolate cake. We had pound cake. And one of our favorites was chocolate icing with yellow cake. And I said that right, definitely, we had that. And one of the other things we had was chitlins. Yes, chitlins. And while these foods nourished my body and added curves to my physique, they also fortified my soul because they were made by people who loved me and helped shape my authentic thinking. So let's talk about chitlins. Chitlins are a strange dish to many people. Here in the U.S., they are part of a soul food tradition, and they can be prepared in many ways. At home in Cleveland, they were very much a staple at Christmas, Thanksgiving, and on New Year's Day. My father would bring home these red buckets from the grocery store, and my grandmother and my mom would get together and they would clean and clean and clean, and then finally cook them. At Thanksgiving, we would host aunts, uncles, cousins, an extended family, and my mother would prepare 70 pounds of chitlins, and they would all get eaten. I would even have friends who would ask me to smuggle chitlins on a plane so they could eat them. So chitlins, or chitterlings, as they are formally called, are basically the small intestines of a hog. That's what they basically are. And so when some people hear or see what chitlins are, they are often quick to make judgments. But for those who like chitlins, who enjoy them, it is the essence of chitlins. From the red bucket in the grocery store, to the cleaning, to the preparation and the spices, to the cooking and the aroma, that's a whole nother story, to the eating, to the social and cultural interactions. All of that, that's what gives chitlins their true intrinsic value. So for you, it may not be chitlins. Everybody, every region, every culture, every family, every individual has that unique set of characteristics that separates them from the plates around them. Across the pond, there's a dish called haggis, which is a sheep's stomach packed with meat. In Cincinnati, there's a Greek-inspired dish called Cincinnati chili, which is a meat made with chocolate sauce served over spaghetti. Europeans and Asians enjoy black pudding, which is a sausage made with the blood of animals and other fillers like potatoes, grains, and fat. Even Eskimos have their own version of ice cream called akutak. And while it's cold and creamy, it's made with reindeer fat. And it's mixed with things like dried salmon eggs, fish, and berries. So as you can see, we each have our own unique identities, our own chitlins. And no matter how you serve them or what you serve them on, they're still chitlins. They're still chitlins. However, chitlins very often are judged out of context. Very often are judged out of context. Similarly, as we try to be our own unique, authentic selves, we may fear being judged out of context. And so we place ourselves in that metaphoric kitchen Langston Hughes referred to in that poem I recited. So over the years, I've been introduced to a lot of different foods. Duck confit, creme brulee, tofu, escargot, sushi. I mean, the list goes on. And I like most of these foods, but it could be very, very tempting for me to turn away from my roots and to deny my true self in an attempt to mirror those fine china dishes that are placed on the plates before me in my current environment. If I turned away from those symbolic comfort foods that I grew up with in Cleveland, my chitlins, then over time I would truly lose more than I would gain. As time passes, we grow up and we climb to higher success in life. But there are those moments, those times when obstacles and challenges are placed in our paths. And sometimes we even struggle with our own insecurities. We start to question ourselves. We start to say, what should I do? What would they think if? What would I do about that? How should I act? And these are the moments when we start to think, maybe I should change. And I'm not talking about changing your clothes for an interview or a new job. I'm not talking about changing your hairstyle or your makeup. I'm talking about changing. I'm talking about assimilating. I'm talking about abandoning your true intrinsic value, your chitlins. The moment you believe that you have to forego who you are, the moment you believe you have to change who you are in order to fit into a new environment, is the moment you forego your true, authentic self. Remember, While the china may be beautiful, when people eat a meal, they don't get satisfaction from the plate. Don't let the plate you are served on dictate what you put on it. Bring your chitlins to the table. Serve them on fine china and see what happens. Some folks are gonna love the chitlins. They're gonna eat them and they're gonna come back for more. Others are gonna say, they're gonna turn their nose up and say, I don't wanna have anything to do with those chitlins. And that's okay. Our chitlins should never be abandoned, should always be valued whenever we find ourselves trying to adjust to a new environment. Whatever your chitlin is that brings you value, that makes you uniquely you, don't abandon or sacrifice that part of yourself just because you find yourself on a fine china display. I, too, sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I, too, am America. Thank you.